Hi, everyone. This screencast is going to show you how to set up offline mode to work in Pybites. So, step number one, navigate over to your settings page and make sure that you're actually connected to GitHub. So, you click this button up here on the top. I've already done this before, so yours might look different. You might have to actually, log in and authorize your GitHub account. But as this is loading, you'll see, boom, I'm now connected to GitHub as our Helmstetter. You will notice that my Pybites username is russell.helmstetter, and that's because of the email address that I had to use to sign up because I work with Pybites for my school. If your username is different than your GitHub username, you can scroll down here and update this section. Now we're just going to scroll on down in my settings, find the offline mode, and I'm just going to walk you through each of these steps. You could just copy and paste the code into your local editor, work on it from there, copy your solution, paste it back in. But this, I'm going to actually show you how to use GitHub to track all of your code, push it up to GitHub, and then pull it in on the Pybites website. So step number one, we need to head over to GitHub. I already have that open in a new tab. I'm already logged in, and I'm just going to create a new repository. I'm just going to call this Pybites demo since I already have a Pybites folder. This description is just going to be my solve Pybites locally. I highly recommend to actually use the Python version. It just has a bunch of really good stuff to ignore already for you. You don't have to worry about it. And then license, it's pretty much up to you. I'm just going to choose an MIT. That's pretty free and open. I'm going to go ahead and click on the code. I'm going to click on HTTPS, copy this, and I'm going to use this in just a second. And now I'm going to list my repos. What this does is since we've already connected Pybites to GitHub, this is going to open up a list of all of my available repositories. And you can see I'm already set up to use Pybites main because that's what I use for my own personal code. But now I just need to find the Pybites demo. That's one that we're going to use right now, and we're going to save. I'm actually going to go to my terminal on my local machine, and I'm going to clone that repo that I just made. So here, if I pull up my terminal, I'm going to use get clone, and there is the URL that I copied. And we'll just check, yep, it is right here, Pybites-demo. And all I have in there is my license. Back on the Pybites website, we need to go get the requirements. So we'll follow the link provided. And it looks like we need the requirements.txt. So I'm going to click on this button right here. Now you have a bunch of different options for how to do this. I'm just going to use my clipboard right here on my command line, and I'm going to put this into a requirements.txt file. And so now if I cat this out, you can see it's exactly what's on there. You can copy this, open up whatever you use for your editor, create a text file that way, whatever works for you. Let's just go back and see what the directions say. They want us to use a virtual environment. Now, keep in mind that Pybites uses Python 3.8. I don't actually have Python 3.8 installed on my machine. I'm going to show you what that looks like when you don't have the same exact version. You have to do a couple extra steps, but you can get around this. So here I'm going to say Python, and I'm going to say -m virtual env. I'm a big fan of just using .venv for my virtual environments, but you do you. So here it is, and I'm going to source it, and let's go ahead and do some pip install the requirements, and let's see what happens. My gut instinct is that we're going to get some errors. So you'll see right here, we have an error with feed parser. Now, this will only impact you when you're trying to solve bytes locally that actually use the feed parser library. So if you're okay with this, you can actually just remove that. So we'll go here, go to the requirements file, get rid of feed parser, save, exit, and let's try it one more time. So you can continue doing this, removing anything that you have a conflict for, Or you can use something like PyInf and go ahead and set a virtual environment that actually uses Python 3.8. And then you won't have to go through and deal with these little hacked ways to get around the installing of the requirements. So we just saw this, and it even tells me right here, I have another conflict. This time it's between PyTest version 5.4.2. I'm showing you this way because this is a common occurrence, but I highly recommend using something like PyInf. And then that way you can create a virtual environment that actually uses Python 3.8. Let's jump back here and we'll just use a intro byte as an example. So here we're going to click on offline mode, download the byte. So this will download a Pybites. So you can see Pybites 101. Let's just go ahead and do it right now. I think I need it to be in here. Awesome. So I have the zip file saved in the right spot. Here I am back in my terminal. Now, this part is super important. You can unzip it using whatever method you like. I'm going to use unzip here on my command line. But when you do, you need to unzip the byte into a directory that is labeled by the number. So for this intro byte number 1, the actual byte number is 101. So I need to make that directory. So I'm going to do maker 101. I'm going to change into that directory. And now I'm going to do unzip from that zip file. And now you can see I'm going to have all of my byte data right in here. Let's go ahead and look at that get.txt file first. We've already done this first part. After you've worked on your exercise and you've solved it, you've done all that good stuff, you need to now add it, commit it. This part doesn't necessarily matter. They just give you this to make it standardized, but the commit message is totally up to you. And then you can actually push it. Okay. So just to show you that I have access to the actual byte itself, let's go ahead and open up the driving. So there it is. It's the same exact code. I also have access to the tests, which should be right here. So you can see, boom, there's the test as well. So let's pretend like I actually did some stuff here. Change up one level. This is that Pybites demo, and I'm going to say get add dot get commit -m, and I believe this is byte 101. And then we're going to go ahead and get push. So this should be up and running. Let's go check our repository, reload. All right, there it is. There's our 101 folder. So now when we come back here, we click on offline mode. Yep, it's using my demo, it's using my 101 folder, and it's using driver.py. I'm going to download code. So now it actually pulled my code in from GitHub. You'll see nothing changed because I didn't actually edit this, but that's how you use offline mode in Pybites. Hopefully this was helpful.